A young man was walking through a bustling city park one sunny afternoon. He noticed an elderly woman struggling to feed the pigeons, her hands shaking as she tried to scatter breadcrumbs. Without hesitation, he approached and offered to help. The woman smiled gratefully, handing him the bag of crumbs. As they fed the birds together, the young man struck up a conversation. He learned that the woman visited the park daily, finding solace in the simple act of feeding the pigeons. She confessed that today was particularly difficult, as it marked the anniversary of her husband's passing. The young man listened intently, offering words of comfort. As they parted ways, he felt a sense of warmth, knowing he had brightened someone's day. Little did he know, the woman was actually a wealthy philanthropist who had been observing people in the park looking for acts of kindness. Impressed by his compassion, she decided to leave her entire fortune to him in her will. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the most profound impact on our lives. One morning, a man was rushing to a coffee shop before a big meeting. He ordered a latte and found a spot by the window, nervously reviewing his notes. He noticed the woman next to him received an identical latte. She slid it across the table toward him with a slight nod. He thought to himself, "How generous, but I paid for my own." When his name was called, he grabbed his actual order. As he stood up, he saw the woman's name was also on the cup she had offered him. He looked down at his receipt, which showed he'd accidentally ordered two. With a sheepish smile, he offered her the second latte. She accepted, and he thought, "This city isn't so cold after all." He walked out feeling a little lighter. Sometimes, what we perceive as a mistake is just an opportunity for connection. Before you assume the worst, look a little closer. Maybe kindness is waiting right there. One day, a young man was struggling to start his car on the side of a busy road. He waved his arms for help, but car after car just sped past. He felt invisible, growing more frustrated with each passing minute. "Doesn't anyone care?" he muttered. Finally, an old, beat-up truck pulled over. The driver, an elderly man, spent nearly an hour helping him, getting his hands covered in grease. As the engine finally roared to life, the young man reached for his wallet to offer a reward. The old man simply smiled and waved it away. "Just help the next person you see," he said, and drove off. Later that week, the young man saw a woman with a flat tire. He remembered the old man's words, but he was late for a meeting. He drove on, thinking he'd do it next time. Before you ask for help, think about it. Maybe you are the one who needs to give it first. One day, a young man was walking through a busy city park, frustrated with his job search. He saw an old man meticulously picking up trash, placing each piece into a bag. The young man scoffed, "Why bother? People will just litter again tomorrow." The old man looked up, a gentle smile on his face, and held up a single clean candy wrapper. "Well, for this one piece," he said, "I made all the difference." The young man paused, his own frustrations seeming small and selfish. He watched the old man continue his work, not changing the whole world, but changing his small corner of it. He realized his own big dreams had stopped him from taking small, meaningful steps. That day, he didn't find a job, but he found something more important: a purpose. Before you dismiss small efforts, remember this. Maybe changing one small thing is how you start to change everything.